Wow, I'm impressed by how quickly you picked up the interface. What good is a spreadsheet if there's no data in it to analyze? Next, let's add some data into this spreadsheet. Let's click into the tab titled Summary. Let's now shift on to the Summary worksheet down below. You could simply click on that to navigate to this sheet. For the management offsite, the management team wants some high-level summary data about how the company is performing. And one of the things they're interested in is the revenue. I want to enter revenue in for every single quarter of the year. I'll click my mouse into cell B6, and here I'll type in Q1 for the first quarter. To go over to the next cell, or C6, once again I could press tab, or I could use my arrow key to jump into the next cell. And here I could type in Q2. Now, one thing you might notice is when I enter in text, by default, it's left aligned. Now, I can go across and I can enter in the additional quarters, but that's a bit of work. Instead, I can rely on Excel to do that heavy lifting for me. Let's go back to cell B6, and here in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see this square. When I hover over that, my mouse changes to a plus icon. This is referred to as the fill handle, and I can drag this all the way over to the right-hand side, and here it automatically increments each of those quarters. So now I see Q1 through Q4. Now you might be curious, what if I keep going? Well, here it just resets it back to quarter one. So Excel is pretty smart about that. We don't need this extra quarter, so I'll simply delete it. Now down below, I want to enter in a label for the revenue, so I'll type in revenue down here. I'll press the right arrow key, and here once again, you'll notice that the text is left aligned. Now here I want to enter in the revenue. Now we're going to enter in numbers. And in quarter one, we had $5 million of revenue. I'll type in 5 million, and then I can press tab. Now you'll notice I entered in a number, and unlike the text, this is now right aligned. In quarter two, we had about $5.5 million worth of revenue. And in quarter three, we had 6 million. And in quarter four, this is by far the biggest quarter of the year. We had 10 million. So here I'll enter 10, and let me make sure I enter in the right number of zeros. And here you see all of these. Now, it's a little hard to understand how much money this is since we don't have any decimals, we don't have any commas to separate thousands. So how can we format this a little better? I'll go to this first cell, and right up here, there is the currency formatting. I'll click on that. Now, when you're talking about $5 million, including decimals doesn't really make sense. Right up above, I can remove the decimals by clicking on this icon. If I want to show them again, here I can click on this icon, but I don't need those extra decimals. If we look over to the right though, this did not change the formatting of these other numbers, but I want to take this formatting and I want to apply it over here. Now I could click into this cell and I could add currency again, remove the decimals, but that's a lot of work. Instead, I'll click into this cell, and here I could hover over the edge of my cell, and you see that my icon changes. Now I could right click and drag over and then release, and here I have the option to copy the formats. I'll click on that, and that's copied over the formats. That's pretty nice, but there's gotta be an even easier way. With this cell selected, on the Home tab, there's something called the Format Painter. That'll take the format, and then I can paint that somewhere else. So here I'll click on this, and that's copied the format from this cell. And then I can click into this cell, and that applies the format. But what if I want to apply it to multiple cells? I'll undo this by pressing Ctrl Z, or I could click on this icon. Let's say I want to take this format, but I want to apply it to multiple cells. Well, here I could click into this cell, and I can double click on the Format Painter. This locks the painting. Now I could click on this cell and click on this cell, and that applies the format. Alternatively, I could also highlight multiple cells to apply that format.